We will continue where we stopped the last time. As you can see, the installation has been, or rather the computation of the geomorphic unit has been concluded. So you close the R Geomorphon pop-up window. Now this is basically the geomorphons that were generated. You can zoom in to see more details, and of course you can zoom out just like is the case in uh, QGIS. Now if you look at this section, you can see that these are basically all of the raster maps that we've generated so far. But now to zoom in, click on this icon here, the plus. You can click within, which will zoom, but you can also click, hold, drag to zoom into that section that you clicked, hold, held, and dragged. Now you can see that you begin to see more details. You can see this blue line. The blue line is basically the valleys. Blues here are valleys. The ridges, the brownish and the reds are more like uplands. The yellows that you see are basically slopes. So if you zoom in further, you see more details. The blue valleys, the browns I think are ridges, and of course the reds will give you summits. So zoom into this section. You can now see the pixels clearly. You can zoom in further, and then you see the variations as they go. But to go back to the full window, click on this, zoom to selected map layer, and now we're back here. So the next stage will actually be to combine the hill shade with the geomorphic units to kind of generate a new map, which would have both a texture and the coloration of the geomorphic unit map. So to do that, you go back to raster, terrain analysis. Then as you go down, you see drip, apply shade to raster. So that's what you're looking for, R shade. Apply shade to raster. Click on that. It gives you a pop-up window with the name har.shade. So in this case, for the first one, it said name of relief or aspect raster map. So in this case, you select the hill shade. That's why I said name of shaded relief or aspect raster map. You select the hill shade, click on the drop down arrow, find the hill shade in the list. Where is it? Slope class, Anambra BB, slope. All right, it's not visible here, so you scroll up with this button and select Anambra relief. Now, like I said earlier, we're going to use 4510. Anambra relief 4510. Where is it? Anambra relief 4510. Having selected that, the next option here said name of raster to drip over relief raster map. So here you select your geomorphic unit map. So Anambra geomorphons. Scroll to find. Anambra geomorphons. This. Having selected that, you now have to define the name of the new raster layer that you want to create. So we'll call this one Anambra BP Landform. Anambra BP Landforms. So having given that name, you can go to optional and see what it looks like. You take a look at the optional command output. This one will give you an outline of what the tool entails with examples on how to run it. But I'm done here. I haven't defined the shade, I haven't selected the hill shade, the geomorphic units, and of course define the new name. You just run. Run. This should be faster. Yep. So the new map has been automatically generated. Let's close this. You can open it if you want to, but close. Now, once you look at this map right now, you can see that it has both the color and the shape of the terrain. You can see the areas that look like mountains there and the areas that look like valleys, even without zooming in to see greater details. Like I mentioned earlier on, this region seems to be an upland region. This area looks to be like a lowland, and you can see how flat it looks. And this region looks to be regions with some small uplands and valleys, not an extensive upland or lowland. So this is basically what you see. You can still zoom into this section. Let's see what it looks like from close range. Now you can see how clearly it is defined. These are basically uplands and these are valleys. Just at a glance, you can see the difference between the uplands and the valleys. Even this region has a peculiar shape to it. But at a glance, you can still see that these are the summits, the top areas, the yellows are on the slopes, the blues are on the valleys. Now, the geomorphons will give you 10 landform units. So eventually we'll now talk about what each one entails. Um, I prefer to work on those in QGIS. QGIS is better for cartographic representations, whereas Grass GIS is better for raster computations. So that's why I use them interchangeably. To generate these terrains, I use the Grass GIS, but then to generate, to view and take a closer look and of course present it in maps, I prefer to run those in QGIS. So eventually we'll look at this in greater details in QGIS. Um, I think I'll stop this here. In the next segment, I will go about the generation of the streamlines from um, the digitalization model. The streamlines talks about basically the the most probable areas where you will have streams, where you have possibly a river, a stream, or even runoff channels where they would water will concentrate more when it rains, for instance. So those lines will try to generate in the next unit. Thank you.